Well, the readings of today seem all too familiar. The message of trust God as Abraham did, and the stop judging others message from Matthew had been retold repeatedly. What is there to say besides the same old storylines? And as I read through the readings, I saw a connectedness between the readings, both the readings, and that made great sense to me. In the Genesis story of the first reading, God is relating to Abraham in a way that he can hear, understand, and act upon. God asked Abraham to move away from all that was familiar to a place that he did not yet know. And he was to go to a new foreign land filled with uncertainty, which brought, of course, anxiety, discomfort, and maybe even fear. It was as if God was saying to Abraham that he could not stay in the protected and familiar space he came from. If you want to move in my direction, you must let go your familiarity and then move forward. Leave behind what gives you certainty and security, and then you will find me. You will find blessing. Then in the Gospel of Matthew today, we hear the famous story about the splinter and the wooden beam. Jesus addresses an issue where few of us can claim innocence, passing judgment on others. And this story challenges us to recognize the beam we carry around in our eyes that don't allow us to see. Well, easier said than done, right? Even walking into the Mass, how easy it is to comment or notice the clothes of a family in front of you, a person dressed differently than ours, or the singing of an older man in the back pew, or an voice that seems to speak differently than ours. How easy it is to point a finger and blame others, our parents, friends, situations, the leadership, and the society at large. And if that doesn't work, on the government. Well, on the other hand, how hard it is to point a finger at ourselves, to own up our faults and take responsibility for them. In the same way that God was challenging Abraham to see more clearly by leaving all that is familiar, and Jesus takes it a step further by telling us that we cannot see at all because we are unwilling to recognize in ourselves all that is too familiar that we seem to try to protect at all costs desperately. And it is easy for us to see something relatively minor in others that should be changed, that should be let go. But we are unable to see something even more obvious in ourselves. We seem to want to hold on to all that is familiar, even if it is causing us harm and anxiety and doesn't allow us to see. The supposed security, safety, and predictability of the familiar beam that we hold on to is easier for us to deal with than the unknown of letting it go, and even if it causes us pain. But God told Abraham, if we can find a way to let go, all will be very well, even blessed. We need to move, change, grow, and not stand still, being complacent with the familiar. And it is time to move the wooden beam and move on from that comfort of our homes. As the Lord said to Abraham, if we can do this, then all the communities of the earth shall find a blessing in you. Amen.